Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you did not know, my name is Robin and today we are going to talk about my February reads. February is usually like a dip for me. Like I usually start off really strong in January, I dip in February, then I come back up in March. But this year was different. This year I read some books. So I read 6 books in February. The majority of them were really incredible. The first one I read was The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which is the sequel to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I want to finish this series this year because it's an absolutely incredible series. This one follows all the characters as they go to the restaurant at the end of the universe and everything is insane. And I don't think I could really give you the plot because 7,000 things happen. But if you love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, if you've seen the movie and you love that book, then definitely read the books because the books are absolutely incredible. They're so funny and I think it's some of the best writing I have ever read ever. The second book I read was Walking Practice. It follows an alien who is the sole survivor of their entire race and how they have crashed to Earth and how they go from day-to-day life and how they hunt their prey, which is us. They hunt humans using a dating app and they can transform into whatever the other human on the side desires and they go and have sex with them and then they kill them immediately after. While doing this, it sort of brings up some problems and some questions the alien has towards humanness and what does humanness mean and life and their purpose in it all. It's a really incredible book and it's a really good social commentary on oppressed genders, sexuality. It's a psychological thriller and it's a little bit gross. There was definitely some times that were pretty graphic, but overall this was a fantastic, like really incredible book and I would heavily suggest it because this is not one that I have ever heard of before and I've never heard anyone talking about it, you know, TikTok, YouTube or anything like that. So if you are interested in this book, it's only very short. I consumed it within a couple of hours as an audiobook and it is a really incredible book. Next book I read was Big Swiss. I started this forever and a half ago and I challenged myself to finish it and that I did. Big Swiss is a book that I read. I have very mixed feelings about this because there are some really incredible moments in this book. There are some bits I really enjoyed and then there are some bits that just sort of fell quite flat for me. This book follows Greta, who is an audio transcribist for a sex therapist. After listening to a couple of sessions, she becomes heavily obsessed with someone called Big Swiss and she gets to hear all of her dirty details and she just becomes obsessed with the idea of this woman. It leads to Greta breaking the NDA that she has and sort of going out of her way to really push people's buttons. She ends up meeting a number of people that she has transcribed in the sex therapist office, decides to use little snippets and details about these people to really prod at them. We also get a lot of about her troubled life and her past with her mother committing suicide. It's a very strange book to be able to talk about because I don't have just one opinion on it. I really enjoyed Greta's character and what she does and how messy she is because she's not this perfectly formed character and in fact I think she plays on a lot of things that if we were in that situation, if we were transcribing for things and we bumped into somebody who we knew all these things about, there's like a little part of your brain that says, I know, you don't know, but I know you know. And I think Greta is a super interesting character. I would like to say the main reason I started reading this is because Jodie Comer is playing in this and it's a lesbian book. We win yet again. This was literally the main reason to why I read this book. But I will have to say that the lesbian sex scene that is in this is one of the worst sex scenes I've ever read in my entire life. And so that takes like 10 points away from how good this book might have been. Bits that I love the most about this book is the nosy part of me really loved listening to the audio transcriber bits and getting to find out these information, like these juicy bits of information alongside Greta. I was like, the gossip in me like absolutely loved that bit. And I was dying to get to another scene where she was transcribing these bits just so I could get in on the gossip. But I also really love Greta's character. I really love the growth and the plot of the book. I think that Greta is such a well-rounded character with so many really interesting and individual flaws that make her seem very human. But there are some moments in this book that just make you like, ugh. Like the sex scene. The sex scene is horrid and it feels very clinical, and no one has ever had sex like that in their entire life. So apart from that, this book was a 3 stars for me. I was expecting it to be a 5 stars, and so I was a little disappointed. I still sort of enjoyed it. It was a fine book. I spent time with it. My next book inspired my last video, and that is Flawed Out of Space. This inspired me to make a video on basically having a load of queer novels together, and this is a sort of inspired by Patricia Highsmith and who she was and how it came to be the Price of Salt or Carol was printed. And it's a very interesting book. I don't think I'm gonna talk about it a lot because I did in my previous video, but it basically follows the person that Patricia Highsmith was and basically the beats of her life with basically fluff filled out in between with like, this could have happened basically. She was not a good person, but it also shows her struggles in being the 1950s and being a lesbian and having to go through conversion therapy. And there was a lot of things in this book that are super interesting. It's really interesting to learn more about Patricia Highsmith, and also I really enjoyed like reading this as a graphic novel. I think more autobiography should be graphic novels, but this was incredible and I gave this a 5 stars. If you're interested in adult graphic novels, then I definitely recommend this one because this is really incredible. The next book I want to talk about is Open Throat. This book is a book about a queer mountain lion who lives under the Hollywood sign. It's a very lonely and horrid life this little lion leads. The mountain lion spends its day listening to people's conversations, hitchhikers' conversations as they walk to the Hollywood sign, and basically his view on all these stories. I gave this a 3 stars just because for me it was a fine book. I enjoyed reading it. Again, I read this in an afternoon, like, so it was very, very short. But apart from that, I can't really give anything that I really enjoyed on this. I read it and was like, okay, this was an idea that you had. I'm glad I did read it because as the book was sold as like a queer mountain lion gives his take on capitalism, and it's like, okay, you have me. I mean, you definitely have me. But this book, I think for me was fine. Like I said, I gave this 3 stars. The last book that I read was The Exorcist, and I didn't know that this was a book, and I'm so glad that I read this as a buddy read, and this was my friend's pick this month, and this is an absolutely incredible book. This is a 5-star book from me, and it is more than I could have ever imagined because I have never seen the movie. As a film buff, I have never seen The Exorcist movie, and I definitely know that I should. But this book is really incredible. It follows Chris, who is an actress, and when she comes home one day, her daughter is acting a little off and she doesn't know why. In a couple of days time, she is bedbound and she is definitely not herself. This book was kind of crazy, and again, because I have never seen the film, I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, oh, it's just about a little girl who gets a demon inside of her and they try and exorcise it, right? I didn't realise how different this book was to my expectations. The main plot of the book is actually, it doesn't follow Regan at all. It follows Karas, who is, I believe that's how you say his name, who is a priest and who strays away from his faith, and basically this exorcism reunites him with his faith. And the demon in the child is like a B plot, which is insane to say, and I didn't think it was going to be about that. What also surprised me, especially for the book in the 1970s, I just assumed that everyone before 2000s was still like hunting witches, because I was like, oh, they all sit around and they go, yeah, that child, she's got a demon in her. But no, the frustration you feel as a reader, even though you know in today's setting it would be exactly the same, of taking this child to the doctor, this doctor being like, oh, it's probably this, Okay, we're gonna send her to a therapist now, and as this child is literally vomiting everywhere, levitating off the bed, like doing this insane shit, these people are like, yeah, she's just got a really bad medical problem. I've never felt such anger towards people for doing the right thing in a book, of being like, no, just say it, say it, say it. She's got a demon in her. And even the church is like, we don't do exorcisms anymore. That's not a thing that we do. If you came to us 200 years ago, maybe we could help you out. It's a very, like, you have such a, like an annoyed feeling on behalf of everybody in the book. I feel like everyone deserves a place in this book. If you ever get the chance to read The Exorcist, you definitely should, because it would be worth every minute of read. It's a really incredible book and it's a classic, and I'm so glad that my friend showed me this. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I shall see you next time. Bye.